we are at chapter 9, section 7, Law of Sines and Cosines. Just please be aware, those three trig ratios that we covered in the last few lessons are only for right triangles. Okay, you are using law of sine and law of cosines for triangles that are not right triangles, so any other triangle. Okay, so when you're looking at these examples, all of these examples are not right triangles. Please be aware of that. They are not right triangles. Please follow along. You will be giving the formulas for law of sines and cosines, and that's it. Okay, so if you're looking at the next slide is area of a triangle. And keep in mind, this is not an isosceles triangle, meaning I cannot just find my height, and then I cannot multiply by a half or times a half, base times height. I cannot do that. So for this one, there is a formula, there is a rule. Again, this is not an isosceles triangle. You will not be given area of a triangle, so this is something that you will have to memorize. It's pretty easy. There is a pattern to it if you're able to identify the patterns. Just looking at it right now, what do I have? I have my A's. Angle A and side A are opposite to each other. Angle B and side B are opposite to each other. And angle C and side C are opposite to each other. So just be aware of that. And then looking at the area. Okay, you're still dividing it by 2 or multiplying by a half. I like to say divide by 2, but it's up to you. And then you're using sine. You have two sides, your sine and an angle. Two sides, sine and an angle, and two sides, side and an angle. Okay, with more practice writing these, you'll get used to them. Again, like I said, there's a pattern. I have side B and C and angle A. I have side A and C and angle B, and then I have side A and B and angle C. So the area of a triangle is given by 1/2 the product of the length of two sides times the included angle. So if you're looking at it, it's a side angle side. That's what they're giving us, side angle side. Okay, so I have B, C, those are my sides, and they're giving me angle A. I have A, C, and angle B. I have side A and B and angle C. So that's a side, angle, side. All right, looking at this example, this is find the area of the triangle. Round your answers to the nearest tenth. So looking at it, they're giving me two sides and an angle. So knowing my formula, knowing my rule, knowing what I'm going to have, area is equal to 1/2 my sides. Which sides are they giving me? If you want to label your sides, you have A, you have B, you have C. So it's 1/2 times, not my A, I'm going to have C times B, sine angle A. All right, so plugging in what I have, we labeled again, my angles are opposites to my sides. So right now, what I have is I'm going to have my B, my C, which is 19, times 17, or you could switch them. You could put B times C, 17 times 19, that's fine, times sine angle A, which is 135. And again, like I said, I like to divide it by 2, or you could multiply it by a half. That's up to you. So plugging this into your calculator, just go ahead and plug it into your calculator. 19 times 17 times sine 135. Please be aware, you have to close your parentheses on your 135. If you are not closing that parentheses, it's going to be an error or incorrect. So what should it look like in my calculator? 19 times 17 sine, open parentheses, 135, close that parentheses, divided by 2. If you plugged it in correctly, your answer should be A equals, or your area equals 114.2. Again, please be aware of where I'm getting these numbers from. My C is my side C. My B is my side B. And my angle A is angle A. Questions on this one? Did we all get that in our calculator? 114.2. Okay. All right, law of sine. When are we using law of sines? When you have an angle, angle, side triangle, angle, side angle, or side, side angle. Okay? That's when you're using law of sines. Law of sines is actually pretty easy to remember. This will be given to you, but it's pretty easy to remember. Just pay attention to this one. My angle is with my side. My angle's with my side. And my angle is still with my side. Okay, pretty easy to remember. Regardless which one you use, it's still the same thing. However, I like to use both of these. Why? Because I like to put my variable, or what I'm trying to find, as my numerator. And with the next example, I'll show you what I mean. So with this, we're going to go ahead and solve the triangle. What does that mean? I have to find everything. I have to find all my missing sides. I have to find all my missing angles. So if I'm looking at this one, I have to find side B. I have to find angle B. And I have to find angle C. So there's 3 things I have to find. Keep in mind, law of sines is pretty easy, so I'm just going to go ahead and write my formula here. I'm going to have sine A over A, sine angle B over side B, and then sine angle C over side C. So that's my rule for law of sines. Again, we could memorize it. It's pretty easy, but you will be given this rule. I'm always going to look for a pair because that's what I'm going to use. So looking at it, which pair do I have? Do I have A's, B's, or C's? Good, I have all my A's, so that's kind of my foundation that I'm using. Think of it as setting it up as a proportion. So I'm going to have sine A, or let me not put A, let me go ahead and put 51 over 18. I'm going to go ahead and solve for angle C. So this is equal to, I'm going to put my angle on top, sine C, because again, I want my variable on top, over what's side C? Is it 17 or 18? Good, it's 17. So how do I get sine C by itself? How do I get rid of that 17? Good, I have to multiply. So I'm going to go ahead and I am multiplying by 17 on both sides. Keep in mind, it's 17 over 1, so I'm just going to put it on my numerator. These are going to cancel out. So what do I have right now? I have 17 sine 51 over 18 equals sine C. If I'm solving for an angle, what's the most important thing? Good, I have to solve using the inverse. So what is this going to look like in my calculator? I have to use my inverse. So I'm going to have the inverse of sine, open parentheses, 17 times sine, another parentheses is going to open up, 51, close the parentheses, then divide it by 18. Go ahead and plug that into your calculator. Click enter. I'm going to give you a minute and then we'll go over the answer. All right, checking our answer. What did we get for angle C? Yes, Bailey. What is it? Good. 47.2 degrees is my answer for angle C. All right, now that I have 2 out of my 3 angles, angle B should be pretty easy. How am I going to solve for angle B? Yes. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and do angle B equals. You could add 51, 47.2, and then subtract from 180. So that's the same thing as saying 180 minus 51 minus 47.2. Yes, you could plug that all into your calculator. Or yes, you can add 51 plus 47.2 and then subtract. Answer for angle B is going to be what? What did we get if we plugged all that in? What's our answer for this? Good, 81.8. So that's pretty easy. Now I have 2 out of my 3 answers. So I'm still going to use law of sines, and all I have to do is find my B. Okay, I'm trying to find my side B. So looking at side B, I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to take that sine 51, but now I'm putting it as my denominator. Okay, so this is what I mean by I flip them every now and then because I want my variable on the top. So I'm going to have 18 over sine 51 equals side B over angle B, which we solved for, which is sine 81.8. Now, how do I get my B by itself? Good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply by sine 81. So multiplying both sides by sine 81.8. And please pay attention to where I'm putting this one. I'm going to put sine 81.8 right here. Why? Because this is still multiplying. If I were to put it over here, let's just see it. Sine 81.8. Do you not think of it as 81.818? That's going to get a lot of people confused if you're not, organized with your work. So by putting it in front of it, I'm going to have multiplication. All right, so looking at what I have now, I'm just going to write it all out. What I have, what am I solving for? Again, I'm solving for B. I'm going to have 18 sine 81.8 over sine 51 equals side B. Go ahead and plug that in and solve for B. What should it look like in my calculator? I'm going to go ahead and write that for you. It should be 18 sine, the parentheses is going to open, 81.8, close your parentheses, divided by sine 51. That's what you guys should be plugging in. And who could tell me what's my answer for side B? Yeah. 22.9. Perfect. 22.9 is my answer for my remaining side. Do we have any questions on this? A lot of it is really just calculator work. But again, you have to know what you're plugging in and how you're plugging into it on your calculator. All right, looking at this one, this is going to be an angle side triangle. Again, solve the triangle, meaning I have to find all missing pieces, round my answers to the nearest tenth. So what am I missing? This one's going to be a little bit more on the easier side. I'm missing this angle. I'm missing side A. And I'm missing side C. So do I have a pair here? Yes. But before I go ahead and I start solving that way, can I find angle C? Yes, that should be the easiest thing. That should be the first thing that you notice. I can find angle C. How am I going to find angle C? How do I find angle C? How do I solve for angle C? Okay, good. I'm going to add 85 and 29. So angle C, 85 plus 29. I'm going to get 114. And then 180 minus 114. If you subtracted correctly, what was your answer for that? 66 degrees. So right now, this is 66 degrees. And all I have to do now is find my sides, side A and side C. So I'm still using law of sine. Why am I still using law of sine? Because I see that I do have a pair. And because I'm solving for my side, I want my sides as my numerators. So I'm going to have 9, that's not a 9, over sine 85 equals, I'm going to do A first, A over sine 29. So again, I'm trying to get my A by itself. And in order for me to get my A by itself, I have to multiply by sine 29. And again, I'm putting it right here. So what do I have now? I'm going to have 9 times sine 29 over sine 85. And that's going to equal my A. Go ahead and plug that into your calculator. I'll give you a minute. Okay, what should it look like in my calculator? 9 sine, open parentheses, 29. Don't forget to close it. Divided by sine 85. If you plugged it in correctly, who could tell me what is my answer for side A? Go ahead. What was it? 4.4 is my answer for side A. Now, doing the same thing for side C. Following the same steps. I'm still using my sides on my top. Why? Because I'm solving for my sides. So I'm going to have 9 over sine 85 equals, I'm solving for C over sine 66. So same thing as before, multiply by sine 66 on both sides. Again, what am I plugging into my calculator? I'm going to have 9 sine, open parentheses, 66, close it, divided by sine 85. Plugging that in, if you plugged it in correctly, your side C is going to equal what? Perfect, 8.3. Do we have any questions on this? Questions, comments, concerns on how to solve these? All right, if we look at this one, this is angle, side angle, we can see that there technically is no pairs. However, I can easily find my missing angle. That's the first thing that you should have done. Okay, so I can easily find this angle right here. So finding this angle, all I have to do is add them and subtract by 180. So angle A, I'm going to have 180 if you added them together, 151. So angle A is going to equal 29 degrees. Okay, that one should have been pretty easy. Now I have my pair. Now I can go ahead and use law of sine. Okay, so looking at law of sine, using the pair I have, I'm trying to find my missing sides. I'm trying to find side C, and I'm trying to find side B. So I'm going to go ahead and find side B first. Finding side B, I'm going to use my A's. Again, I'm finding my sides, so I'm going to put my sides on the top. So I have 10 over sine 29, because my A's are going to go with my A's, equals B, which is what I'm trying to find, over angle B, sine angle B, which is 70. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by sine 70, because that's what I'm trying to get rid of. Okay, that's what it should look like. And what do I have? I'm just going to write it a little neater. I'm going to have 10 sine 70 over sine 29. That's going to equal side B. If I solve this correctly on my calculator, what does side B equal? You could tell me. What is it? 19 point what? 19.4. And that's my answer for side B. Looking at side C, I'm still using my 10 over sine 29. And that's equal to C over sine angle C. So that's sine 81. Go ahead and multiply both sides by sine 81. These are going to cancel out. I'm just going to go ahead and write it a little neater. I'm going to have 10 sine 81 over sine 29. If you solved it correctly, C is going to equal what? 20.4. Okay, please check your work. Do you have any questions on these? You guys should have tried this one yourself. Angle A was 29, B is 19.4, and C is 20.4. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. All right, now we're covering law of cosine. With law of cosine, you're using, triangles that you were given. Okay, when you're using law of cosines, you're using side, angle, side triangles, or side, side, side. So if you look at the examples, there are no pairs that I have. So I know I cannot use law of sine. So you will be given these rules for law of cosines. Okay, so the ones that are given here. You can use this to solve either sides, or you can use this to solve either angles, and we're going to do example of each. So again, if you look at this example, I do not have any pairs. So I cannot use law of sines. This is a side, angle, side triangle, so I'm going to use law of cosines. So first thing is I want to find something to give me a matching pair. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve for side A. Okay, again, you will be given these formulas, so I'm just going to go ahead and write it down. Okay, so I could go back and look at it while I'm solving. I have a squared plus, or sorry, not a squared plus, a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine angle A. Okay, so that's one of my rules for law of cosine. Again, you will be given this. So let's go ahead and plug it in. Plug in what we have. I don't know side A, so right now I'm going to have a squared equals, who could tell me what is side B? Good, I'm going to have 23 squared plus 26 squared minus 2 times 23 times 26 cosine A. Please do not plug all of this, or not cosine A, cosine 114. Please do not plug all this into your calculator because you're bound to make a mistake. Do it in steps. Solving it in steps. I'm going to go ahead and evaluate this first. 23 squared plus 26 squared. You can definitely plug that into your calculator. You're going to get 1,205 minus, solving this in my calculator, 2 times 23 times 26. 1,196 cosine 114. Now I can plug this into my calculator and kind of have a smaller expression to use. Plugging this into your calculator, you're going to get a long decimal. If your question says round, you cannot round your answer until the very end. So please be aware of this. Do not round your answer until the very end. Plug this into your calculator. 1,205 minus 1,196 times cosine 114. You're going to get 1,691.457025. Okay, again, do not round this answer. There is a way on your calculator that you can use the exact answer. So pay attention to what I'm going to say next, because I'm going to show you how to make sure you use that exact answer. On your calculator, if you see this symbol that looks like this, the negative sign, do you see above it, it says answer? That's taking the answer from your previous question. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use that exact thing without typing that entire number. On my calculator, I'm going to push second, because I need to square root this. That's what I'm trying to do. I need to square root this entire number. I'm going to push second, then my square root button, which is that x squared button, but I'm trying to get the square root. So right now it should look something like this. Then I'm going to push second, then that negative button. So then it's going to say something like this. That's giving me the answer from my previous question. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so once I get that, then I'm going to go ahead and push enter. It should now give me an exact answer. It's going to give me my answer for A. It's going to say A equals, well, it won't say A equals. It's going to say 41.1273269, and so on and so on and so on. So now I know I have an exact answer. Now I can round. If you rounded this number before, you're probably going to be a tenth off on your answer. So do not round until the very end. So answer for A rounded to the nearest tenth is 41.1. Again, if you have a question on the calculator, please try it and then ask. I need you guys to understand how to use this, because if you're rounding before making a mistake, it's going to mess up your entire answer. So now that I have my side and a matching angle, I don't have to use law of cosine again. I'm going to go ahead and use law of sine for the remaining. This is 41.1. So now I'm going to go ahead and use law of sine. Okay, I have a pair. So solving using that pair. I'm going to go ahead and find angle C. This is the angle I'm going to go ahead and find. So pay attention to how I'm setting it up. Again, I'm solving for an angle, so I want my angles to be on top. I'm going to solve it over here. I'm going to have sine 114 over 41.4 equals sine, yep, you're right, thank you, 41.1. Then I'm going to have sine angle C over 26. Okay, same thing we did before. How do I solve for sine C? How do I get sine C by itself? I have to multiply both sides by 26. And then I have an angle. I'm solving for an angle. So what do I have to do when solving for an angle? Good, I have to go ahead and use the inverse. So on my calculator, I'm plugging in the inverse of sine. 26 times sine 114, close the parentheses, divided by 41.1. And if you plugged it in correctly, what is the measure of angle C? Round to the nearest tenth. What am I going to get? 35.3 is correct. Okay, questions on how I got here? All right, now I can easily find angle B. How can I find angle B? Good. Add my two angles, subtract from 180, or you could just subtract everything from 180. So in order for me to find angle B, all you have to do is 180 minus 114 minus 335.3, and that's going to give me my answer. Who could tell me what is the measure of angle B? What are we? Good. 30.7 degrees. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, because I have to round side A. Yes, technically your answers are slightly off. They're not exact, but I have to use that answer. I have to use what was given, technically what I solved for. Questions, comments, concerns on how to use law of cosines. All right, let's go ahead and go to the last one. Go ahead and try this on your own. I'm going to give you a few minutes and then we'll check it. All right, this one's only giving us sides. So I'm going to use still law of cosine because now I need to solve for an angle. So there are three angles here that I have to try and find. Okay, I have to try and find angle B. I have to try and find angle A. And I have to try and find angle C. So looking at this one, I'm going to go ahead and just try and find my largest angle, which is angle B. Honestly, you can find any angle you want. Just please make sure you're plugging it into the right formula for law of cosines. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and write it up here so we have it. Again, I'm solving for my angle. So if you want to go back to the formulas, for all means, go back. This one's going to be B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine angle B. So I'm trying to solve for my angle. So plugging in what I have my side B, which is 6 squared minus or equals 4 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 4 times 5 cosine B. I'm trying to find my angle. Again, do not plug all of this into the calculator. Do it in steps. 6 and 6 is 36 equals, solving this first, I'm going to get 40 minus, it's actually 41. This is 41 minus, this is 40 cosine B. Please be aware, that's 40 times cosine B, so I cannot subtract 41 minus 40. I cannot do that because it's 40 minus 40 times cosine B. So pay attention to how I'm solving this. This is going back to your algebra skills. I'm going to first subtract 41 from both sides. I'm then going to get negative 5 equals negative 40 times cosine B. How can I get cosine B by itself? Divide. So the next step is I'm going to divide by negative 40. If you divide it correctly, I'm going to get 0.125 equals cosine B. We should now know what to do at this point. How do I solve for angle B? Good, I have to use the inverse. So I'm going to have cosine negative 1, 0.125. If you plug it in correctly, who could tell me what is the measure of angle B? (82.8 degrees. Okay, 82.8 degrees. Now, do I have a pair I can use for law of sines? Yes, I do. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve for an angle. Does it matter which angle I do first? No, it does not, but I'm just going to go ahead and do angle A. we'll go ahead and do angle A. So for this one, I have my pair. I'm solving for my angle, so I want my angles on top. So this is going to be my second step. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve. I have sine 82.8 over 6 equals, again, I'm solving for angle A, sine angle A over 4. How do I get sine angle A by itself? What do I have to do? Multiply both sides by 4. And then going ahead and I have 4 sine 82.8 over 6 equals sine A. If I'm solving for my angle, what do I have to do? I have to use my inverse. So in my calculator, I'm going to have the inverse of sine, 4 sine, open parentheses, 82.8, close parentheses, divided by 6. Go ahead and plug that into your calculator. And what are you going to get rounded to the nearest tenth? Good, 41.4 degrees. All right, now that I have 2 out of my 3 angles, do I have to use law and sines and cosines to find my third? No, I do not. What do I have to do now? Good, I can either add and subtract, or I can subtract them all together. So I'm looking for angle C. I'm just going to go ahead and subtract 180 minus 82.8 minus 41.4. If you subtracted or added and subtracted correctly, what is your answer for angle C? 55.8 degrees. Good. Again, with practice, you'll get the hang of it. Questions, comments, concerns on this?